Remember, defensive hands should already be up into play so that by the time he even touches, I already wanted to get a hold of that wrist, pull it down as far as you can, and then I like to slide up so I know exactly where his elbow is. Again, if he comes home with bruises, you know it was me. Okay? So at this point, I like to have him as far away from my neck as possible. Again, nobody gets to touch that portion. So now what I'm going to do 3 motions pretty much all at once. Okay? I'm going to lean to my left, I'm going to slide my hips down, and I'm going to hop my hips to the left pretty much all at the same time. So when I'm here, I'm going to go down and hop to my left. My elbow kind of hits his thigh to help free him up. Okay? Then I'm going to step and put my back on top of his leg. Now through here, I'm holding onto his wrist, but I'm also holding onto his wrist. When he thought he was going to get a one-on-one, he's actually trapping his own arm. Okay? Through here, don't try to pinch wrist to shoulder, pinch elbow to your side. So now when he starts trying to pull his hand out, I want to make it as difficult as possible. Because when I start to slide, I know he's going to try to get up on top of me, but his real attempt is going to be when that hand comes out. That's when it gets real. So as I'm sliding, right here, I already know that it's about to get real. So I'm pulling my right shoulder to the ground, and I'm pushing his wrist in the air. So right here, I will tap him with the arm bar if I can, okay? And then I'm going to keep scooting away until he turns. Now it just goes to an arm drag, and I climb up on board, okay? He taps, he taps. Actually, I try the best I can to manipulate his wrist so he can't just put his hand back into what looks like a Kimura, but at that point in time, I mean, it gets a little difficult. So I just use the arm drag to get up. So the part that we're going to do through here is just to practice, because the way you have to put the pressure into the shoulder, it's a little different, okay? I am not pulling myself up to do a sit-up, okay? The moment you do that, you're going to push his hand up into the air, you're going to sit up, and he's actually not going to feel any pressure pulling him down to the ground, okay? So go into like a referee's position and put your arm out. Okay, this is what we did. Go my good side. No, okay, yeah. So what I'm going to do through here, he's going to make a solid base, okay? Because I'm about to hang myself off of his arm. So as I'm here, now imagine though, I would be gripping onto his elbow. We're not going to put that pressure onto him. We're just going to grab his shoulder, okay? So it seems a little weird, but as hard as I pull here, I push here on his wrist. The goal is for his arm to stay in place. It's not to go like this. I'm not trying to push his hand up in the air. I'm pulling on his shoulder and pushing his hand as a counterbalance. So that once I'm in, now my goal is my hips raise up off the ground and my shoulder raises up off the ground. Okay, that's my pressure. So now when I'm here, okay, I pull down, I raise my body, and then I start to twist. Okay, and you see how he gets broken down in the process. So in the movie Cars, when Lightning was doing the dirt track, they were like, you know, they didn't understand power slides or things like that. This was my generation called it. We didn't call it drifting. So, but when the tail end whips out, you steer into it to carry yourself through. So in this case, when I'm here, I go to the left so that I can turn to the right. Okay? It's important that I continue going left so that I can turn and face him, because that's me pulling his elbow to the ground. Again, I'm not trying to pick myself up. I'm trying to get his shoulder on the floor. Okay? In the process, that puts a lot of pain into his elbow. I tap a lot of people just with this technique. So once you're in, oh no, pull it away, trap the elbow. Okay? I'm going to slide, turn, and hop on top of that leg. Now I know that the moment his wrist comes undone, he accelerates greatly to start getting up on top. So push the wrist in the air and pull the elbow down to the left, to the left, to the left, while I turn to the right. And I'm pulling his shoulder down. He will be the one that wants to turn the hand. And when that happens, then this is just an arm drag. Pull yourself up and take over your top position. Okay? But don't be surprised if you tap your partner out. All right, your shot. 1, 2. Okay, is our hips and shoulders go one direction so that we can face the other. What a lot of people make the mistake on is they'll get in position, they'll shrimp away, and go, oh, I've escaped. And then they will literally turn and expose their back all over again. Okay? The ground is your floor. Okay? The ground is my safety. If my back is to the ground, then you're not. If my back is on the ground, then you are not on my back. So at this moment in time, I don't want to be in like this and go, okay, here's the floor. Let's shrimp, let's shrimp, let's shrimp. Ha-ha, I'm out. Because now all I'm doing is just exposing my back all over again, and my partner's just going to take my back all over again. That's one of those reasons why I leave myself in the ground until one major thing happens. That elbow becomes free. Okay? So if I'm here and Pablo's on this side of my body, this is a very easy test. If your elbow is still up against your partner, you haven't escaped yet. When my elbow can go from the ceiling to the floor, okay, there's no way Pablo is in the floor. So that means my elbow has now cleared my position. So now when I move, I have the expectation that Pablo's in front of me and not somehow still behind me. If you can't free your elbow, you have not escaped. At that point in time, you are still in trouble. It's an easy test. Okay, and we can do that same thing if we say, you know, looking out from Pablo's side of it. One of the things he wants to keep and try to hold and maintain is keeping a connection to me, so I can't get my elbow free. This becomes an easy litmus test. Okay, if the elbow's not free, you're not free. So don't expose your back until you know that that elbow has cleared his body and hips. Okay, otherwise, like I said, at that moment in time, you're still in trouble. You're still potentially going to expose your back, and you're going to play this game all over again. Now, other things to think about is the common response in most cases. When I clear his hook, he's going to mount me. That's going to be his major attempt. That's almost always where he's going to go. Okay? Because again, if we're just playing the numbers, 9 times out of 10, there's always going to be the anomaly. Somebody's always going to buck the trend, but the vast majority of people are going to mount you in the process. Okay? But that being said, remember what was one of my litmus tests. Okay? The only way that Pablo is going to be able to mount me is my arm has to be out of the way. So when I take him to the control side and I start to free myself up, okay, one of the things we can expect is this leg is going to play on the outside of the hip, okay, but the other leg is still trapped. And that's the reason why I'm laying on his leg. I'm holding onto his arm. I need to slow him down so he's not free to just do whatever he wants and whenever he wants to do it. So I know he can't really climb on top of me when this arm is stuck. And as long as my body weight is on top of his leg, I know at this point in time that he's slowed down. So this gives me my opportunity. So again, I'm controlling. So now when I drop my hip off, I know that he can start to accelerate, okay? Can't go 100 miles an hour yet because I still have his wrist. So when my hip falls, I know he's going to start trying to turn to get up. This is my wrist going in play. Okay. Now remember though, my hips were still going this direction. So through here, if he's still trying to mount me and I'm playing with my hips, my ability to take him into single leg X, because anytime somebody's trying to mount you, he has to expose his leg. And again, my defense is to get that elbow into his hips. So now I have him framed. So when he's trying to come over the top, he's going to be like this. And if I'm holding onto his hips, it's going to be hard for him to go. So when you scoot your hips away, it always puts them into what I call the long step. And the long step always opens up single leg X as an opportunity. So again, anytime anybody tries to mount you from just about any angle, any position, they're almost always going to open themselves up into a long step and open themselves up. Any long step is single leg X, or at least an opportunity. And then where you go from there, that's wherever you go. But again, we're still playing with that. I have to keep going left, but now my hand's going to play on this hip to keep him at bay. So again, we're in, control, control, control. We're going to drop him down. Now right here, I already know that this is when he's going to start trying to play for mount. So as I'm scooting right here, technically speaking, I've already escaped. Back take is gone because my elbow is already cleared of his hips and my hand now is playing on this hip. So now as he goes to continue to get up, my knee shield goes inside. That was just opened up by my hand and the fact that my hips were scooting away. And then all we have to do is connect our heel to our knee. This now isolates his leg. And then depending on what we want to do, we can start to then manipulate his leg and steal it. Whether you want to go into a leg lock game, whether you want to try to sweep in with single leg X, or just what I did. Just I have the leg, scoop it up. I have just lift the ankle now, and it changes the whole dynamic of the position.